what's up, boys and girls? Is everybody ready for some Mission COOM possible? That's all I can do in terms of Tom Cruise. So I know everybody wants an impression. Do your Tom Cruise. That's it. He doesn't have a particularly unique signature in terms of kind of a normal voice. So I can't really do some kind of outlandish, accurate Tom Cruise presentation, but I can do that. So today we're going to be doing a deep dive, a little bit like the last one. Now, you guys know we did all of the franchise in anticipation of this new one, which I thought was a really good podcast. If you didn't see it, I think sometimes our movie podcasts, which are underrated, we get really deep in them, and I think people forget the movies, and I just don't care about movies. That's fine, whatever. You don't have to care about movies, but our Mission COOM Possible stream was pretty solid, boy. Pretty based. This one right here. This one right here. Oh, come on now. Get over here now. Get your ass on over there and watch this right here now. Uncle Baby Billy, baby. Uncle Baby Billy's Bible Bunkers. Anyway. Come on now. There's a toilet baby. Got a lot of toilet babies out here. Anyway, you know we love movies over here. And I'm going to do a little refresher on all the other ones. Not too much time. And then we'll break down the new one because just on an entertainment level, pretty nice, pretty good, pretty solid. I mean, it's nice to see movies that connect with what movies used to be, right? I mean, everybody used to go to the movies and have fun because if you were in the 80s, you loved action movies. You loved action heroes. It was very macho. It was very normal. And ever since the 2000s, all that's been flipped, of course, is now like feminist so-called heroes, and it's all kind of ridiculous. And I won't say that every movie since the 2000s is completely bad, but we all know that this has just been completely inundated with this kind of flipped, inverted message. So it's nice to see, first of all, just a movie in the classic action style, action hero vein. I mean, it feels like an 80s, 90s action movie. So that was fun. That was good. It was like we were watching, Tom COOM jumping from the train, grabbing John Voight's butt back in 1996 or whatever, right? I remember I was in high school and I went to the theater to see old Tom COOM in Mission Impossible 1, MI1. And I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun at MI1. Now, second point, this isn't just a decent or good movie because it harkens back to 80s and 90s action blockbusters, summer blockbusters. It's actually a good movie. It's very well done. In fact, I will go so far as to say that it might even be one of the top 10, easily in the top 10 spy movies of all time. It is that good of a spy film. I love spy movies. I've seen a zillion of them. Written 2 books that deal heavily with many of them. And I think I can say with some certitude that to be this far into a franchise and to have this good of a part 7 was really impressive. There's one little area that I disagree with that comes up in the film, which just Hollywoodizes it. Otherwise, though, this is a really good movie. I mean, it's I'll stop short of saying it was a perfect movie, but I mean, you just can't. There's nothing wrong with this. It was great. I mean, on all levels, even to the point of getting into kind of this deep esoteric stuff. Now, I'm not saying that all the deep esoteric predictive programming stuff that we're talking about is going to vindicate Hollywood and make Hollywood good. I'm not saying anything like that. So yes, these kinds of films do have a tendency to obviously still have the propaganda that we always talk about. However, I will say this for the Mission Impossible films. If you go back to Ghost Protocol, if you go back to some of the other installments, where we would typically think the bad guys will be always the Russians, the Mission Impossible films have a tendency to actually make people in the U.S. government and the CIA the bad guys. Typically, there's a mole in the CIA, or there's a bad guy, and typically there's a higher level society, the syndicate, something like this, which is behind a lot of these big scale events. And Tom Cruise is an interesting character because he will sometimes do some kind of beige things. I'm not saying he's a beige guy. I'm just saying, like, because sometimes he doesn't. But sometimes he does, which is just kind of surprising. And I wonder if part of that has to do with Scientology does kind of have this little element of being anti-big pharma. Now, I'm saying that it is we've dived into that what all that is many times. But I'm just trying to figure out, like, sometimes Tom Cruise will do certain films or projects that don't really seem to be totally woke or totally establishment, and I'm just speculating as to why that is. However, I do think that Tom seems to pretty clearly probably be one of these intelligence-connected Hollywood people. If you look at a lot of the training that he's had, if you look at a lot of the connections, I mean, the stuff that he does, it's very, spec ops-ish. I mean, even all of the stunts, even all of this, it's like he's like a black ops guy, right? In real life, probably. Now, that's just my speculation based on, if you notice the promos that they had for the new Mission Impossible film, it was all of these ads and videos that would pop up of him actually doing all of these stunts, right? And we've also seen that a lot of the tech, a lot of the gadgets that we see in the spy films, we saw this with the Bond films, even all the way back to Sean Connery. We saw the implementation of tech gadgets that would actually kind of prep us for the future surveillance world or the future phone world, the cell world or surveillance, right? And even within the franchise itself, if you remember, Ving Rhames' character, Phineas Freak. Yo, Ethan, you remember when I was writing code as Phineas Freak? And then you effed up my Gucci jacket in the desert? Ethan. That's my Ving Rhames, baby, and that was pretty good. I will have to say so for myself. Now, we had hacking, we had all of this stuff that was very popular in the 90s in movies that very much prepped us for the world that we live in now. A lot of the sci-fi movies and spy movie gadgetry predicted the future. How did they do that? Well, because a lot of those movies had consultants, and they had people from intelligence agencies, and they had people advising on scripts who had worked in deep state offices, we'll say. So they were able to say, this is what we think the future will be like. This is the latest tech, blah, 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 blah. And that's admitted in many books. We've covered that many times. So it's not a conspiracy theory. It's actually well known. You could read Annie Jacobson's DARPA book, History of DARPA. And some of the last chapters are the meetings between, I think, Kathleen Kennedy, James Cameron, and a lot of the DARPA Pentagon people about various movies. So there's a symbiotic relationship there. Now, why were so many hacker movies in the 90s kind of predicting us and preparing? Because I think they knew that, they planned that the world would be pretty much living online, right? Our lives, our business, our education, I think all of that they knew a long time ago would be sort of transitioned over into the online space. And other examples, if you go back and watch the Bond films, a lot of the tech that you see Q developing for Bond is stuff that would kind of later be normalized. Now, some of it's cartoonish and silly, like in the Roger Moore era, when you basically got like weaponized dolphins that, you can ride on or some shit like that. I mean, just crazy stuff, right? Like I don't know, like a floating sex raft or something that, didn't come about. At the end, I forget which Roger Moore one it is, where it's like it's a device that protects you from an avalanche and that you can get laid in. Remember that thing? So it's because it floats on the ocean. So yeah, that thing. I think I'm thinking of the right thing, right? Remember that? So it's like, I'm about to make a booty call, but also I might accidentally trigger an avalanche. So I need to be protected on all accounts in that situation, right? Because you don't want an avalanche, when you're trying to get some coitus, according to Roger Moore. Those kinds, not every gadget. Some of those gadgets are ridiculous, but long story short, this is something to pay attention to. And I think, if you think about the Ghost Protocol, when Tom COOM is climbing the big Abu Dhabi giant tower or whatever that is, those gloves, there are sort of prototypes of that kind of thing. I don't think the actual glove that he has in the movie. I looked that up. That doesn't exist. But a lot of the other gadgetry that we see, 3D printing. Remember that 3D printing popped up, I think, in MI1, which is pretty wild. So in 1996, you basically had the idea of 3D printing there. I think that was kind of in Face Off as well, the Nicolas Cage movie. But so we've got a lot of gadgetry that predicts the future. We got a lot of fakery, intelligence and news and psyop fakery throughout the franchise, etc., etc. So you guys remember that. You can go watch that other podcast where we broke down all the other ones. But point of all that is, these types of movies are very important to pay attention to for where they want to take us and for where the programming is leading us, is what I'm trying to say. And so especially these kinds of big Bond blockbusters, Mission Impossibles, even sometimes the Marvel universe or whatever, those are really important, not because the quality or the content itself, but because of what might be in those to prepare us for where the propaganda is intending to take us, right? Where the establishment wants to go. But aside from those factors and all that, the psyops and the propaganda, again, just on a film level, this is really good. I mean, this is, I want to say a perfect movie. The only reason I would say it's not a perfect film is because there's a couple things that occur that kind of reminded me of other things. The train scene. I get that it's kind of referring back to the original Mission Impossible with, Tom COOM trying to play grab butt on the top of the trains with John Voight. But I don't know. I feel like we've done the train thing, and we've seen the train hanging off of a cliff type of thing. I mean, I just feel like some of the stunts, if they'd been a little different. I mean, we've seen this Tom COOM on a motorcycle car chase in like every movie that Tom Cruise is in. And yes, we do have Tom Cruise running. Right, so Tom COOM is doing his classic run. I know there's a lot of fans of Tom Cruise running out there. There's actually videos with millions of views. And we want to give props to all of the Tom Cruise running fetish people out there. A lot of y'all really into that. That's your thing. No judgments from me. Ain't no judging over here. And I'm pointing this out because they actually did studies on this. Again, this is illustrative for us, even beyond the kind of the silliness, because there was actual studies done that people preferred watching the Tom COOM running scenes. I think it's like, and then he got really into how you perfect running all the way back to Legend, right? How you perfect running the best. So there's like this, like Tom COOM he seems like a very, what is this, Jerry Maguire of the Firm. He's even chasing chicks down the road in the Firm. And look at now, see back then he's got this kind of jiggly fist style, right? He doesn't have the CIA, Jackie Chan chop style yet. But a lot of running in the Firm, and it's like, you would think that this would be a little odd, but people love this. I don't know. It's weird things. You know what? What I want to see in a movie, Tom Cruise running. I mean, he probably even runs in Cocktail. I don't know, but does he run in? I mean, is it every movie? I mean, they were going back to Legend, dude. Did he run in Cocktail? What's he going to run? Run chasing Elizabeth Shue? I don't know, but we got The Firm. He's over there sprinting. We got Mission Impossible 1 and 2. Of course he's going to sprint in those. Vanilla Sky, he's sprinting. That's in the freaking virtual thing. He's cryogenically frozen into a matrix. And he's sprinting. And you put Tom Cruise in a freaking matrix, he's going to sprint still. I mean, he's just a sprightly dude. I mean, you put him over there in, I don't know, 1800s samurai Japan, he sprints. Run like, remember that guy in the Old Testament? One of the guys who's the messenger for the king. He runs until he dies. It's like Tom COOM over here. He's running in Collateral. Look at that. War of the Worlds. Running from the tripods. I feel like Mel Gibson in Conspiracy Theory, and I'm over here talking to Julia Roberts, and I'm saying, what are you running from? Who are you running from? Tom, who are you running from? But I'm going to bet he doesn't run in Cocktail. I think I may have found one Tom COOM film. Oh no, was that Cocktail? Is that him chasing Elizabeth Shue? He does. He's chasing. No, that is Cocktail, but he's chasing somebody else, not Elizabeth Shue. So he even runs in that. I thought I could think of a Tom COOM movie where I lose. I lose. Don't ever bet against the sprightly Tom Cruise sprinting. And for those of you that want to see Dead Reckoning, and it's all hinging on whether or not they're sprinting, you won't be disappointed. You will get your sprint fix, I promise. Who's a better runner? Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal looks like he never runs. He looks like a very sedentary man. Tom COOM, always on the run. So anyway, I had to do my little running bit. Brief reminder. Thank you guys for showing up. Nice little Tuesday evening podcast here. If you would like to support the show, do so via the Streamlabs Super Chat function. We break down movies. We do geopolitics. We do film. We do philosophy. We do it all over here. Tom Daschle. You thought you heard about a senator named Tom Daschle. We was talking about Tom Cruise in a movie, dashing. If Tom Cruise was a reindeer, if he was one of the 12, he'd be Dasher. You can support me via Super Chats on Streamlabs. Streamlabs is right there. Does he run in Tropic Thunder? That's a good question. He's a cameo there, which is another kind of interesting non-PC cameo that he does there. Yeah, maybe Tropic Thunder, but see, that doesn't really, that's just a cameo, so I don't know. Now, brief refresher on MI 1 to 6. So the first one we have in the 1990s, we have Brian De Palma, and we find out that this is a higher than the CIA level group, functionary, right? It's the secret team. And if you don't know, I've covered in passing, we haven't done the whole book, but many times I've referenced, and we've actually analyzed some of the videos from secret team author Colonel Fletcher Prouty. And Prouty was a guy who, again, was one of these, I think it was a Green Beret, and then he's recruited into being an IMF style fixer. And that means that for whatever kinds of black ops that couldn't be done in the open, they would recruit guys to go do this in terms of Black Ops style. So this is the real, when you think of the CIA doing a coup or an intelligence agency running a operation in their country, this is the secret team kind of stuff, right? Assassinations, election meddling, toppling a foreign government, instigating a coup. This is the type of stuff that Fletcher Prouty was doing in secret team operations. And in this book, his books actually went on to influence Oliver Stone when Stone made the JFK movie. So another figure, I think, that is the model for Ethan Hunt, as we know, is the obvious E. Howard Hunt. And for those that don't know, E. Howard Hunt was the famous CIA operative. And we've touched on him in the Gladiotex. We've touched on him in other analyses because he did a lot of these black operations and whatnot for many, many years. And I think most famously, the reason that Hunt is in our purview is because of the, not just Watergate and that kind of stuff, but the deathbed confession that he claimed to be involved in the grassy knoll. So, again, yeah, maybe he's not telling the truth, sure, but when he died, he did confess that. In fact, Lord Voldemort was one of the few people that actually covered that. And I'm pretty sure Alex went and interviewed him. Very, very monumental interview from many, many years ago. It's probably lost, but it might be somebody probably dig it up. But yeah, Alex did this interview many, many years ago with E. Howard Hunt, and I recommend, if anybody can find it, to dig that up because he claimed to be involved in this operation. So that's giving you the idea of the kind of person behind Tom Cruise's character, Ethan Hunt, right? Ethan Hunt, E. Howard Hunt. And in MI1 in 1996, we did have some interesting Russian elements, and then we find out, as I said, that although you might think it, the Russians weren't the real bad guys. It was something else. And we have these inklings of other gadgetry like Google glasses kind of show up. This comes up later too, where they have in Ghost Protocol Sawyer from Lost. Remember, he's got the little, what do you call it? A damn spy monocle, right? And the last thing I'll say, which is very relevant for the recent installment, is that you have to pay attention to, and I didn't notice this until reviewing it with Jamie. If you go back and watch MI1, you'll notice that the reason that this chip is very important, that Ving Rhames' character, Phineas Freak, is explaining to Tom COOM that the bad guys can't get a hold of, is that it is an AI chip. And I thought that was interesting too, because most people have probably forgotten that. And when you go back and watch number 7, spoiler alert, it's about AI. Now, we've had countless stupid movies about AI for many years, and I don't think that everything that is AI is like, oh, super deep, super predictive programming. But this one is. And I mean, we're talking like getting over into Klaus territory of cyber polygon. The cyber polygon will make the COVID-19 crisis seem like the walk in the park. The cyber pandemic will be the next phase, right? So remember cyber polygon? I did a whole video breaking that down because I went and did the whole presentation and read all the slides and all that from cyber polygon. And so guess what? Part 7, basically we're talking cyber polygon type of stuff. Now, interesting, they tie the cyber polygon in with the AI and the possibility of large-scale predictive algorithmic controlling. So manipulating, controlling, and future predictive analysis. Like what we saw, who? Tom COOM in. Remember Minority Report? We're talking about PKD. Predictive analysis. Now, remember about 10 years ago, I did a lot of podcasts and a lot of articles back then. I put it in the first book where we analyzed Minority Report, and we were talking about how they would be planning predictive crime prevention. Now, it was in Minority Report they came out in about 2001. And they started rolling it out, these various programs, in 2014. And it was based on the kind of mass metadata integration analysis that a lot of the big social media companies were involved in. So they were taking all this data, basically everything on the internet, and trying to predict the various factors that would lead to crimes occurring. Literal pre-crime. So I don't know whatever happened to those programs that they were testing in 2014, 15. But my guess would be that by now, 10 years later, it's probably a lot more advanced. And I think that probably a lot of the AI is not about, they released GPT, dude. Why'd they do it? It's going to take over. Man, that stupid thing couldn't get basics about me right. Which, in actual fact, tells me that ChatGPT is actually just social engineering. Right. The thing sucks, basically. It acts like it's just Google smushing together a bunch of results, basically. Now, I would imagine, as everybody knows, I'm sure, that whatever really exists in the Area 51 underground bases of the Pentagon, I'm joking, but whatever really exists, in the vault where the Ark of the Covenant is from Indiana Jones, my guess would be that the supercomputers that they do have, and then they are running AI on, are really advanced, and they're probably really good. They're not alive. Okay, I don't care how many times you punch in a new bunch of algorithms and numbers. An algorithm doesn't ever become self-conscious, no matter how many digits and numbers you add to it. And so it's not self-learning in the sense of being alive and conscious. It's not self-aware. But it can do more programs, and it can refine its own algorithm, sure. But that doesn't make it alive. So the only other criticism I have of the film is that I think at one point Simon Pegg's character, who's one of the other hackers, says it's self-aware. Yeah, no, it's not self-aware. But otherwise, again, basically pretty much a perfect movie. I mean, I even enjoyed all the almost Jackie Chan level stuff. Like Tom COOM's over there fighting people, and it's turning into a damn Jackie Chan movie. And we need more of that. We need more Jackie Chan, fight sequences where things are just getting crazy, right? Where you're climbing up a bamboo ladder and you're basically fighting as a living Rube Goldberg machine. Okay, I'm talking that kind of stuff going on. And that's actually makes it entertaining, right? Mission Impossible 2, very relevant to the last 3 years. I won't harp on all that other than to say that you can guess what it is. There's a big bio company, big pharma company that wants to release a goofing style virus to game the population by having the so-called cure. So whatever you think of the last 3 years, that seems to kind of match up to the last 3 years. Now, I'm not saying that Mission Impossible 2 intentionally had a prediction of the last 3 years. I'm saying that what is the model of the scammery in Mission Impossible 2 with Brendan Gleeson matches up perfectly to, just take Brendan Gleeson and, make that like Borla or whatever his name is. Mission Impossible 3, we change it up with bringing in actual people who use CIA consultants on movies openly, particularly the show Alias, which we broke down in an entire podcast. J.J. Abrams comes on. And if you read the Tricia Jenkins book, CIA in Hollywood, there's an entire chapter on how the CIA was there consulting on Jennifer Garner's Alias that J.J. Abrams did. So I don't think it's accidental that we get him there. And then we get, as you guys know, my favorite villain of the franchise, Philip Seymour Hoffman, with like 3 lines, but the most memorable lines in probably the whole franchise. Give me Rabbit's foot. Give me the rabbit's foot. Give me what I want. Your wife, girlfriend. I'm going to find her. I'm going to hurt her. I love that. That's my new favorite impression. Give me the rabbit's foot. Now, when we went to Paramount, so we did the Paramount tour when we were in LA because we had a free day. And I was like, what do I want to do in Hollywood? We were there for the last 2 weeks, as you guys know. And we've done the Warner Brothers tour in 2018, which is interesting. Actually, the studio tours are actually interesting. I recommend doing them if you're there and you're a movie buff. We decided to go to Paramount, and this is a Paramount film. So when you go to the Paramount tour, you're going to see all of the Tom COOM memorabilia. It's everywhere, right? Because Tom's had a lot of Paramount films. So Top Gun, all of that. So you walk in and you see Maverick's freaking Navy Daddy gear, whatever you call it, like the scrambled eggs and all of that. That the whatever signifies that you're a Navy daddy. I'm the daddy of the Navy. You know, whatever he is, I don't remember. You see all of this memorabilia, and then they got Maverick's freaking helmet over there. And I'm like, can I put it on? Can I smell some of the Tom COOM in there? No, don't touch that. It's under a glass case. You're going to go to freaking Belmarsh if you touch it. I'm going to show you. I'm going to prove it to you. Y'all don't believe me. You didn't go see that. You lie. Here we go. Look. Here's me making the Tom COOM laugh face in front of Maverick's Navy Daddy outfit. See? Let's see what else there is. Here's Maverick's helmet over there. Tars. Remember Tars? That there's Tars. Sometimes on set we call him Tards when he couldn't do his lines right. All right. Can you do your lines all right there, Tards? Got to see Tards. Here is the actual Godfather. I thought this was really cool. So here's the Oscar for the Godfather. That was neat to see. This is actually the Allspark. Nathaniel Witwicky. Jamie Henshaw. Nathaniel Witwicky. The Allspark. There it is. So Jamie's over there. And if you're wondering, the Allspark is a very thick type of styrofoam. Here's me looking pretty based. They gave me the award for Best Internet E-Celebrity Diva. I got an Academy Award for Best Internet E-Celebrity Diva. Can y'all see that right there? Come on now. Uncle Baby Billy. Come on now. Best Internet deal. Anyway, funny thing is, actually, they do this is pretty cool. They let you hold the real Oscar. And so if you look at what it is, it's actually the Oscar for the old War of the Worlds. So I thought that was actually pretty cool. Couple other neat anecdotes there in front of the Paramount. This is they call it the Bronson Gate, and it's the Bronson Gate because Charles Bronson was recruited out in front waiting to try to get a job. Yeah, he was out there like a Home Depot guy, out there just waiting out front of the gate to be hired. And they said, you look like a leading man. What do you want to name yourself? And he had some kind of weird name, like, I don't remember what it was, Charles Jibberjabber. And they were like, no, you can't be on screen as Charles Jibberjabber. You got to have a cool name. And he's like, he looked down the road. And so where Paramount Studios is on the other road, it's called Bronson Street. So he looked down the road and he said, Charles Bronson. So this is called the Bronson Gate at the front of Paramount, which was pretty neat. And we're not going to sit here and look at all this whole time. Now, if you're a fan of Sunset Boulevard, which we just covered, remember this? We did the film noir episode, which is really good and overlooked, I think, in our podcast retinue. Do you recognize that? You got it. That is the writer's scene from Sunset Boulevard. Let's see, what else did we see? Just a couple more. No, there's not really anything else that would. We did see an actual bumblebee from the set, I guess. So they built some actual real bumblebees. What other thing? Yeah, I guess that's the main whatnots from that. But it was a lot of fun. A lot of Tom COOM stuff was what I'm trying to say. Now, in Mission Impossible 3, it's interesting because they brought in a lot of this Dan Brownie type of stuff, right? Oh, the Vatican has antimatter weapons, and if you touch it, it's gonna turn all the rabbits gay. I don't know, right? It seems like maybe Mission Impossible 3 really happened, and everything is so crazy in the world because somebody was over there fooling around with the rabbit's foot, right? So maybe we should have given the rabbit's foot to Philip Seymour Hoffman, because maybe the world wouldn't be in this madness, this CERN extra dimensional reality that we've entered into. Give me the rabbit's foot. Give me the rabbit's foot. Give me what I want. Do you have a wife, daughter? I want to find her. I want to hurt her. Right. I like that impression. It's fun to do. So, so Philip Seymour Hoffman wants this antimatter technology, and it's got to be from like the Dan Brown story. Is it Angels and Demons? I don't know Dan Brown stuff, but even though I do know Dan Brown stuff, because we had a whole Hollywood Decoded episode that was going to be air, and I wrote the whole script up for that episode, and it never happened. So I take that back. I watched all of those Dan Brown movies, and they're not very good. But so it's a bunch of antimatter sci-fi BS, if you ask me. I mean, I don't believe that exists. Maybe it does, but a lot of this sci-fi type stuff that they claim exists, I'm just a skeptic, because I don't know. I don't have any way to test and see if antimatter weapons are real, other than some internet dork telling me that it is, and that if I denounce or deny what they say, I'm a bad person. Also, this one is directed by John Woo, so there's a ridiculous amount of completely ridiculous sequences, like when Tom COOM meets Tandy Newton and they make eyes together as their cars are spinning, torque style, Tokyo Tom COOM drift, literally about to go off the cliffs of a Spanish mountain. I mean, that scene is just ridiculous, preposterous, right? Redonkulous. Mission Impossible 4. Is this Ghost Protocol? Yeah, Ghost Protocol is pretty good. I can't remember if it's Brad Bird or who's one of these directors that it's not, or maybe J.J. Abrams did 4 too. Anyway, but Ghost Protocol is good, and it's basically focusing on this it's basically a fake flag event that the Kremlin gets attacked, IMF gets the blame, but it's a higher level group where we now know about as what we now as the Syndicate, right? And one of the reasons the spy movies are so good is that they almost always, whether it's, you could say X-Files is a spy show because Mulder and Scully work for an intelligence agency. So you got X-Files, you've got basically every spy movie and cartoon show ever has some sort of transnational elite syndicate that is manipulating, like an octopus, all of these different events in other countries. Well, that's really what goes on in the world. I mean, Spectre, Smersh, the Syndicate, it's all real. And Mission Impossible 3 and 4 introduce us to this idea where fake flags implicate and brand his team as the bad guys, the terrorists. Oh, we got the terrorists. So again, it's not actually the bad guys are the Russians. It's something else, something higher. Also, we get introduced to this bad guy. His name is Cobalt. And Cobalt, if you remember in Mission Impossible 4, that's his code name, is a radical eugenicist. He has the commitment to wrecking and destroying the population of the world to save the environment. So, boom, we're getting, like, literally being told that the depopulation climate scam is a scam. And in Mission Impossible 5, Fallout, which I did an entire video on in I'm skipping Rogue Nation. Now, Rogue Nation, we're still dealing with the Syndicate. I did a big analysis years ago for 21st Century Wire and my website on Mission Impossible 5, because Rogue Nation is referring to, on the one hand, where we think again that, oh, Tom COOM's crew is bad and they've been turned to the dark side, and they're using all of their techniques to, you know, freak everybody out with staged terror. But it turns out that no, the Syndicate is at work again, and this centers around a group of people who want to then also depopulate. And so the Syndicate is committed to depop, interestingly. And we find them emerging in Mission Impossible 6. Here we have the Syndicate embodied in this guy named Solomon Lane, known as the kind of a revolutionary figure, or a kind of demiurge. And he is served by a group of former Syndicate members known as the Apostles. So you'll notice, which is what we've seen in Oblivion and the other Tom Cruise movies, Edge of Tomorrow. You will start to notice the pattern of the Gnostic archetypes, the Gnostic evil creator god that has to be destroyed and fought against. And guess what? That is also in the new one, very explicitly. And this is basically going to confirm all of my previous analyses, right? Because once again, Tom Cruise comes out as this figure who then rebels against the evil creator god. And in the new movie, the evil creator god, or the evil invading god, is the AI. The chat GPT. The chat GPT, right? I don't think there's anything else I want to rehearse from Mission Impossible 6, except that, once again, the bad guys want to depop, which is interesting. And another point I want to say, too, is that, we kind of made jokes that IMF has a double meaning. IMF means Impossible Mission Force, which is cornball because it's from the 1960s. But it also is relevant for the International Monetary Fund, one of the Fabian socialist entities established by the Milner socialist clique. And in the movie, Kittredge actually talks about this, because Cary Elwes is the new director of national intelligence. And when the Kittredge character, who's been there since the episode 1, explains to Cary Elwes that the IMF is something that you don't even know about, right? He freaks out. He says, "Are you talking about the International Monetary Fund?" He's like, "No, not that IMF. Another IMF." And he says, "This is an IMF above all of the other intelligence agencies. So that's why you don't know about it, because it's a shadow organization, and we use them whenever we have to have something done that no one else can do, right?" So Ethan Hunt is the super agent. So now we come to the new one. And by the way, I don't mean to give the impression that I think the new one is a really good movie because it has a Gnostic theme. It's basically just every Hollywood movie is going to have a Gnostic theme. You can never get away from that. So, right, let's just set that aside, right? Just as a movie, I'm saying it's really, really good. Now, here's the thing with the new one. We notice in the early sequences, let's see if it shows up in the trailer here. And I can't play too much of it, because if you try to show too much, everything gets dinged, and if it gets dinged, then the algorithm doesn't promote it, and it's a big, huge hassle. So, Rome, they're back to Rome, and this is interesting because, Rome played a key role in the third one. And let's see, I was looking for, yeah. So here is the screen image that we have of the AI deity. It's basically a semi-divine sort of, again, Gnostic creator god. It's the demiurge. And we are told that there's this rogue submarine on the loose. And this rogue submarine on the loose that is chasing another submarine is fooled into thinking that it's time to have a battle, and they're actually under the ice caps. They're under the polar ice caps, and this Russian submarine is trying to fight against this other submarine that's tracking it. And we learned that the Russian submarine guys, the Russian soldiers, end up shooting their missiles at a submarine that's not there. So the entity, the AI entity, and I think they call it an entity, right? It's able to actually manifest in their instruments and give a deep fake of another submarine that was going to attack them. So it causes them to basically blow themselves up. Or it's not blow, it sinks themselves. Right? So they sink. And so this AI, whatever it is, we don't know exactly, because this is part 1 of 2, right? So the Mission Impossible 7 has 2 parts to it. So this is the first half. We don't know exactly what's going on, but it's basically sitting there at the bottom of the ocean in the Arctic underneath the polar ice caps. And it's running its operations, I guess, or something from there. But it's also gotten loose, right? So it's like Skynet, basically. But it's not just Skynet. It's a self-learning adaptive AI that is able to do predictive algorithmic assessments. So whoever has the key to this thing has a quasi-omniscience. So it's not full-on omniscience, but it's like giving you a quasi-divine apotheosis deified status where you can, when you have access to the AI, it will basically tell you the likelihood of any event. So later on, one of the bad guys is fighting with Tom COOM and so forth. And it's like, he's being told there's a 70% chance that Tom will show up on the train and have the key that you're looking for. And so, right. And then you ask the AI, well, okay, so how do I ensure that it's a 90% chance? Well, if you kill Tom COOM's girl that he cares about, Rebecca Ferguson, Ilsa Faust, there'll be a 90% chance that he'll come looking for you on the train. That's kind of a thing, right? And I don't know that kind of a thing actually exists, but I do think that what a lot of the internet and social media and all of this is there to do is to get to that. They want to get to the goal to where the AI can almost be like that. Now, I don't know that I don't know. I mean, I'm not a computer man. Right, I'm a philosophy book man, so I can't tell you if it could ever get to this thing. This looking like a dang sparkler over here, looking like a damn sparkler. Doing a little Theo Vaughn there for you. So, predictive algorithmic control. And throughout the film, we are told that whoever possesses this tech will basically kind of control everything, and because they'll be able to game and know potentially everything, not literally omnisciently, but like any that you want to know, basically. So here's the weird part: how do we access this tech? Well, when the submarine sinks, the Sevastopol, there are 2 Russian guys that so it's like a key that fits together like this, right? Which is, so you kind of have a male and a female, and one of them is called the male, one of them is called the female, I think. It has some weird name, the keys. The key fits together like this to become a cross. So it's like a cross, you know what I mean, right? let me find. You need to see what I'm saying because there's a reason that it does this, right? Key from MI7. Do they show this? No, they're not going to show it. Key for. Let me try Sevastopol. All right, well, so none of these, they're not going to show us the key. But anyway, it's two crosses that fit together like this, right? And I think they said one of them is male. So it's just like alchemical stuff, right? The male principle has to be united to the female principle. And in so doing, you now have the key that unlocks the tech of the super AI demiurge. Okay. And just like in, is it Vanilla Sky? I think Vanilla Sky also has this idea, right? So Vanilla Sky is also about ultimately Tom COOM's froze in a cryogenic thing, and it's 500 years into the future, right? And so Minority Report, tech, predicting the future. This is a theme in the Tom Cruise movies. Remember, he's not in the movie, but he shows up as one of the Avatar AI characters in the Congress. Remember the Congress? Which was very relevant for what's happening now, the things that are rolling out now. So a lot of the actors, if you haven't noticed, there's like a whole SAG-AFTRA actor, writer protester going on because some of these studios are saying, we don't need you actors and writers anymore. We have the rights to your identity and to your image for a pittance. Do you know what I'm talking about? And so they're saying, we don't need we're going to use AI. The AI will get so good that we won't need actors anymore. And so people are mad about this, as they should be, because, I mean, they're trying to, all of this is an anti-human thing. If you've never seen this movie, I highly recommend it because it is a very accurate, predictive film. And if you don't know, so in the Congress, Robin Wright plays herself, the actress Robin Wright plays herself, and they take her, she makes a deal with the studio. They were telling us this in 2013. She makes a deal with the studio to have the studio film her from all angles in this big machine to capture her entire likeness and the range of her facial expressions and emotions. And see, I'm trying to find the machine. I don't know if they show it. Yeah. Anyway, so then in the future, people begin to live in the metaverse. So here is the metaverse, as you see in the film. People are all living in the metaverse, and the actors and the famous people, their likenesses have been captured. That's her, Robin Wright, in the future in the metaverse. Because in the metaverse, you can go into worlds that are cartoon worlds. You can go into all these different kinds of weird places. And Tom COOM is there. So here she goes to like Hollywood in the future, in the metaverse. And she bumps into Tom COOM there. I'm trying to... And it's a really weird, trippy film because as time progresses, like it gets into like the year 2000, like 5000 or something, right? And the metaverse has evolved into these really weird, cartoony avatars, right? Very Disney, very weird. And it's because way back in our day, right, she went into this recording studio, which, as you see there, that's the big thing that records her from all angles. This thing. So then the studios own your AI. So they were telling us about the deep fake AI, chat GPT, fakery, all that way back. I mean, you got to watch this movie if you've never seen it. Please go watch The Congress. I highly recommend it. It's very predictive, very relevant. In fact, it's more relevant than a lot of the sci-fi films of the last 20 years because, you know, this AI and all this stuff is rolling out now as the big thing that we're supposed to be, you know, so hyped up about. So this movie is all the more relevant for that, as well as the so-called metaverse stuff. Anyway, back to Tom COOM's thing. Now, in Mission Impossible 7, the AI has to be stopped. Of course, Tom Cruise is the only person that could do that, and he has to keep it from the terrorists, right? And the CIA and the terrorists, they're all worried that he's going to misuse it and take it and use the, with a great responsibility comes, with a great power comes great responsibility. All this kind of stuff. Blah, blah, blah. But I thought this was a well-done plot. It was a well-done movie. And Tom Cruise seems to have the idea that this thing has to be destroyed. This thing is accessed through the cross, you see. So they use, what words? They use words like the entity. And if you remember in Edge of Tomorrow, they called the entity, the creator God that has to be destroyed in Edge of Tomorrow, they called him the Alpha Omega. In Oblivion, when Tom COOM destroys the imprisoning Archon, what is it called? The Tet. What's the Tet? The Tetragrammaton. And it's an inverted triangle. So Tom Cruise is constantly fighting the Alpha Omega, the Tetragrammaton. And he's fighting. In this, they call it the entity. And he says it has multiple personas. Multiple persons? And it has to be destroyed because it can make us all into... He says something weird. Like, I'm trying to remember all the phrases that are used. Like, he says it can completely control us and socially engineer us or something like that, right? Now, this is relevant because remember the recent so-called whistleblowers and real whistleblowers. They have been saying, what's that one guy's name? Jared Lanier. Remember, they've been saying for a long time that that social media has the ability to program us and control us. Remember when Facebook did a giant social media experiment, a mind control experiment, and they didn't tell anybody, and that came out. Remember that? Well, guess what? It's all a giant social media mind control experiment, and it's all there to steer you, to take you into where they want you to be. That's in this movie. That's what this movie is about. Because the AI is figuring out how to manipulate and control and dupe key people. There's even a statement in the film where they say, get this, just like in Winter Soldier. Did you catch that? There's a scene, there's a specific statement where it says, this AI is so advanced, it can pick out the future potential counter-revolutionary, counter-establishment people and have them fingered and chosen right now. Who are the thought leaders that need to be controlled or taken out? It says that in the movie. That's what social media is about. Social media is about giving you the approved change agents and influencers. So some people are saying, did you do a video on Sound of Freedom? So we've been super busy. I'm eager to see it. We tried to see it in LA, but we couldn't. So we're going to see it very soon. However, although I've not seen the movie, we did just do the interview with Sammy the Bull Gravano, and he talked about it. So he gave his take on it, and I gave my take on some of the history of TR trafficking, right? And so there's a clip over on his channel right there where we talk about the movie and this stuff. But I think the full thing is behind his paywall. So if you want to see that, we haven't done it yet, but we intend to. Now, BLA and Cotel did a breakdown of the movie, but I've not yet seen the full film. So I have to hesitate on commenting on the movie because I haven't seen it yet. But people say, have you seen Nefarious? Yes, I saw Nefarious. So I've seen all of the movies that are needed to be seen. I've not yet seen Oppenheimer, and I've not yet seen... I don't care about Barbie. People talk about Barbie like I care about Barbie. Although that was a pretty funny picture of me and Jamie as Barbie people. I wonder how many people believe that. I told everybody I was in a cameo. I'm a cameo in the Barbie movie. You Barbies. Put your Barbies up. Y'all see that? Right here. Right here. Right here. So Jamie and I are cameoing in the new Barbie movie. Barbie. Check that out. There you go. It do be looking like Jamie sometimes, though. It do be looking like Jamie. Anyways. So Mission Impossible 7. Yeah, quite a bit of... Now, there's a lot of car chases and fight scenes. So the majority of the movie is actually... This is really just an action movie. I mean, it's not a plot. I mean, it's a very complicated plot, which I should say. So that's one thing that's unique to spy movies, because or action movies. Usually action movies don't have very sophisticated. This is a very complex plot. Like, you have to really pay attention, and it really gets into like these predestination versus free will types of things, because we figure out that the AI algorithm wants to basically, the AI entity wants to basically squash the notion of free will. And so it wants to make sure that when it masters all the algorithmic potentialities and whatnot and knowledge, that it can then predict the future. Thus, there will be no free will, basically, is the point. And so there's a theme throughout the movie of predestination versus free will. That's in a lot of sci-fi movies, obviously, but they do it pretty well in this, which is pretty impressive, because a lot of these kinds of movies do that dumb, right? Remember Terminator Genesis? Like, that was all about predestination and free will, and it was just a poorly executed. It was super confusing. I actually kind of like that movie. Okay, I know it's like not that great, but I kind of like that movie. But the plot is just like, dude, my mind is in a freaking knot. I'm in a time knot over here. No way I could follow all of these damn timelines. Well, guess what? We got a Tom line over here. Can you follow the Tom line? Can you dash and run like my boy Tom over here? In Mission COOM possible? So there you go. Pretty wild, huh? Now, I'm not going to spoil anything in terms of like, because we don't know. It's a part one, so the whole movie leaves us as a kind of a cliffhanger. There's some other good elements too in terms of character development, and the idea that, you know, Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt can't be happy or fulfilled because most of the people that get close to him, that becomes the weak point. And, you know, from the vantage point of espionage and intelligence, that's actually true. Intelligence operatives and agents, people doing real field work, they're usually trying to find the weak points in a person's life to compromise them. Let me go to so and so, and you know, let's get at him. What's his trauma? What's he lacking in life? Oh, he never had a father figure, so I'm gonna be his father figure. Did you see? It was his last movie, wasn't it? So if you want a realistic intelligence based movie, remember Philip Seymour Hoffman and Rachel Adams. And I always forget the name of that movie. It's actually a good movie. And it's based on what? Le Carre? We did a breakdown of this. Most Wanted Man. This is a John Le Carre story. And of course, it's fairly accurate, right? And Philip Seymour Hoffman plays the handler to a dude who needed a father figure. So he, you know, basically is like, the way I recruited this person, this Islamic extremist person, was by figuring out that he never had a dad. And so I become his father figure. And not in the George Michael sense. Just literally nice to the guy and treats him in a good way. But then, you know, that's the soft spot by which you can use him. And so, in the same way, we have this going on over here with Tom, where it's no longer then sort of handlers. I lost my Mission Impossible. It's the AI is now the mega handler. The AI is going to be everyone's MK Ultra handler, basically. And I like that. I thought that was pretty clever. So very revelatory about social media, about AI. A little over the top with the, it's going to become self-aware, self-conscious. Don't believe that. Obviously, I don't agree with the Gnostic undertones, but as a movie, it was really well done. Good movie. So thank you guys for those super chats. Hopefully you had a lot of fun today. We're not going to have a super long one. Tonight, I have another live stream here in a little bit with a Roman Catholic. So the Trad Cats have asked me to come on, and we're going to have a friendly, civil, probably some disagreements discussion. It's not a debate. It's just a discussion, an interview. But they were nice, and they reached out, Anthony, I think. And so I'll be on that here in a little bit. The link is in my community tab. So let's see over here, come over to the community tab. And by the way, if you guys didn't see the Pearl interview that we did, me, Tim Gordon, Rachel, Glenn on Pearl's channel, that was a great chat. Go check that out right there. The occult feminism chat. The Sammy the Bull interviews are up. They are, I think, behind his paywall. So you can, if you want to see that, subscribe to him. What am I looking for? Here, this is it. So here in a little bit, we'll be doing this one. I'll put this in the chat for you guys there. So hopefully that's a fun, fruitful discussion with avoiding Babylon. And I want to remind you guys, too, that the show sponsor is the best supplement company out there. The best supplements that you can get access to, chalk.com. That's CHOQ.com. If you head on over to chalk.com right now and use the promo code J50, you'll get 50% off of all them bad boys, all them puppies over there at chalk.com, to speak the lingo of Theo Vaughn. Get some of that Tomcat Elite, that Tomcat 100 to boost your testosterone right now, because I know a lot of y'all boys out there is a little girly. Get some of that Action 2.0 to boost your energy levels. Get some of that She-Legit for, read the wrong one. Mental focus, clarity. She-Legit is legit. She-Legit. She-Legit, don't quit. Hey. Too legit. 7 Wonders. That's right. If we are mineral deficient, then we need to make up for the minerals that are missing in our diet. And that's what 7 Wonders is all about. The 7 best mushrooms and the nutrients that we get from those mushrooms. All these adaptogens are available over at chalk.com, that's CHOQ.com. At our live events, we were able to give out tons of free chalk. Everybody loves it, especially that Tonka Lee. And you can get the chocolate, which is over there, as an excellent super food. That's right, smoothie. You like your smoothies? We'll put some of this chocolate in there and see if you don't feel a little bit better. Then we got the cacao beans over there. Chalk has it all at chalk.com. Show sponsor. We love it. And if you want recurring subscriptions, use the promo code J53Life. That's J53LIFE to get a little more of a discount and recurring subscriptions. Byte Scribe, $5. No, we did him yesterday. Marvin F, $16. Thank you for your work. Thank you, Marvin. Storm the Cat, $5. My friend likes to watch a lot of the James Bond movies in the bathtub. He calls himself Bubble 07. Oh, yeah. Gonna have to hire you as a comedy writer, man. It's Travis, $40. Can you do an impression of Dawkins and Gates planning to reduce the world's cute kitten population?
Well, of course, if you look at the number of kittens in the world, it's proportionate to the number of believing, God-fearing theists. If we are able to reduce the number of kittens, perhaps by correlation and causation, the number of theists will die.
I meant to say the number of theists will go down. So if you look at the number of kitties, as my friend Dick Dawkins over here says, there seems to be a correlation between the number of kitties and the number of people. I think if we can get the number of kitties down, and I'm going to be introducing the
what I call Kitty 9 stabbies. Everybody needs to get a Kitty 9 stabby to get their kitty numbers down. So just put this little inoculation inside of every cute kitty out there, and we're going to save the planet.
Slayer, $3, P3, $3. Have you played Metal Gear? A long time ago when it came out, and I don't remember much about it. What about Metal Gear Solid 2? What if we crowd-sponsored a stream to make you watch it and play it? I know a lot of people recommended this. It's just that it's hard to find the time to get through everything and go and do everything. So I'll keep that in mind. I know we also got to do Neon Evangelium, whatever. Neon Genesis Evangelion. And we got to do... somebody recommended the other big anime thing, and I just went blank on it. Full Metal Alchemist. Roll Stakes, $5. By the way, guys, if you want to support the show, do so via Super Chats. Super Chats are through Streamlabs, right here. Right here. Go on now. Get your Streamlabs now. Do something, make yourself useful. Make yourself useful now, huh? Oh, come on now, get over here. Make yourself useful. Do my little baby Billy there. Uncle Baby Billy says, send me a super chat. Come on now. Have you done Waking Life? Yes. Again, I'm not fussing at you, but that was a classic with Tristana. Remember Tristana? Internet diva that retired from the internet but is making a comeback. Right here. Go on now. Right here. Waking Life and Scanner Darkly with Tristana right there. Look at that. Booyah. So I'm going to put that right there. Misbehaving. Running around the house with a pickle in my mouth. Come on now. What about before and after sunset films? What does that mean? Have you done Waking Life or before after sunset? Don't know about that. I'll have to look that one up. I don't know what it is. It'd be fun to see your breakdown of those quasi-intellectual conversations. Yeah, actually, Tristan and I do that. We kind of make some jokes about the suits in Waking Life. But actually, I don't think Waking Life is a terrible film. It's actually pretty interesting, and I don't agree. It also has the Gnostic themes explicitly, right? They go into talking about PKD and his weird hyper-preterist Gnostic view. So that's explicit in the film. So I don't agree with that, but it's an interesting movie. Eris Rudzitis, $5. By the way, somebody needs to put me in an art house movie. Right, it's about time. Come on now. Everybody knows I need to be in some kind of dang art house movie. Just being a dang retort or whatever. I don't know. But, yeah, there's our Waking Life analysis. My neck hurts. Jay, what are your top 3 actors? Thank you. I love your stuff. I mean... There's a lot of talented actors, so it's kind of hard to pick, like, who are your 3? I don't really have a top... I mean, I know that's just kind of a lame... I don't really have 3 favorite actors. I mean, because, like, on the basis of skill or on the basis of cool and secretly red-pilled. You know what I mean? I don't know. I like the cool red-pill people. So, you know, we got to hang out with Jamie Kennedy and do his podcast. So I guess Jamie Kennedy is a favorite now. I got my autographed Jamie Kennedy's up there. See that? Isn't that cool? I got my autographed Scream. I got my autographed Malibu's Most Wanted. And I got my autographed Jamie Kennedy Experiment. So I guess now Jamie Kennedy's my favorite. And then who else is favorite? Trying to think. Did we meet anybody? Have we met anybody else? I can't think of any. I mean, I like a lot of people just on the basis of skills. And then there's other people that seem like they're cool, right? So, Mel Gibson's cool. He's in a lot of movies that I like. So probably Mel Gibson's up there. Jamie Kennedy, Mel Gibson. Who else? Who's cool? Tommy Wiseau. It's time me apart. Lisa. I want it all. By the way, Alex is in Scanner Darkly and Waking Life too. James Woods seems reasonably cool. I mean, I like Nick Cage a lot. So I would put Nicolas Cage up there, top 3. Yeah, I really do like Nick Cage. Somebody said Hilary Duff. Yes. Jamie Kennedy, Nicolas Cage, and Hilary Duff. I'm joking. I'm looking at the names, everybody's, because I'm going to forget stuff, right? I'm going to forget some people. Who else is cool? Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell's pretty cool. Kurt Russell's done. I guess I kind of pick it too on the basis of who's in movies that I really like, like characters. And I like Terry Gilliam movies, so I don't know if I'd say Bruce Willis is. I mean, I like 12 Monkeys a lot as a movie. It's one of my favorites, but I like David Lynch. Even as a character in his movies, I like a lot of the people in Twin Peaks overall. Yeah, a lot of people saying cool people. I mean, there's just too many. I mean, just Jamie Kennedy, Nicolas Cage, and maybe Mel Gibson. How's that for 3? And then Vince Vaughn's pretty rad too. So maybe Vince Vaughn's a cool guy. Vincent Price. Vincent Price has a list from beyond the grave, dude. I mean, he's got some good roles, and he's an interesting character. Christopher Lee is an interesting character, but yeah, a lot of good actors. It's hard to pick. I think that's my 3. Yeah, Keanu seems like a cool guy. Glitchy Rhythm 3. Do you have thoughts on Jim Mars? I think his JFK book is a classic, so that's a good one. I read 2 of his other books. 4. I read 4 Jim Mars books. I think that in certain areas it's good, but when he gets into alien stuff, I don't agree with the alien stuff. But the JFK book is good, and then he wrote a really good book on how the financial system is a scam. That book's good. That's an overrated book, and it breaks it down in a really easy way, like how the global financial system works. Something dollar. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's over there, but I can't see it. His finance book is actually a good conspiracy journalism book. I did that $1. Doing an impression of Osho doing anything. How about Osho doing Philip Seymour Hoffman's lines from Mission Impossible 3? You will give me the rabbit's foot. Do you have wives or girlfriends? I will find them, and I will hurt them. How's that? You even got a free booger whistle in there for $1. Dude, that's a bargain impression right there, dude. I hope you appreciate that for $1. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Like and share. Tell me what I missed. Tell me what you thought about Mission Impossible 7 in the comments. And again, we don't get any, the entity over here, that Tom COOM was fighting. That's the same entity keeping this channel down, oppressing me. So help me and Tom COOM break through the algorithm entity controlling AI, and like and share and subscribe.